Hey, hold up, man. I got something to say, man. Wait. What y'all out here for, man? What you here for, huh? Does your life matter? Does your life matter? You ready for this? You ready to take control?
Hey everybody, it's Brian Dare. I'm with the Colorado Homebuilding Academy, and you are listening to Workshop, a place to build great careers. And it's so good to be with you today. I am with Pierrette Tierney, and she'll give you all of her backgrounds to what she's doing, but she's Regional Vice President for American Homes for Rent, and also a main lead person behind the house she built. And we're gonna be talking about all that today. But before, and Pierrette, I wanna get into your career story and what you do and how you got to where you are. But right now, we are sitting in the home that has been titled The House She Built. So I wanna actually start there. Tell me a little bit about that. What's happening today and how are you a part of that?
Yeah, so the house that she built was kind of the brainchild of our Professional Women in Building Association here in the state of Utah. It kicked off about 2 years ago, actually, when we were founding our chapter of the PWB and decided, oh, we're founding a new chapter. We should take on a super ambitious project, and decided to build a house utilizing female-owned companies, female labor, female volunteers, our architects, our engineers, our interior designers, kind of as many women as we could get involved in this project to help promote women in the industry. It definitely wasn't about women building a house better than men. It was more about the underrepresentation of females, and that there are a lot of women that do these jobs that aren't necessarily always highlighted. And so it was a big challenge. As we know, there's a shortage of people in the trades in general. And then when you look at the female population, I think it's maybe around 3%. So we were flying in tradeswomen from around the country to help us get this project to the finish line. And very exciting timing of this interview, because the Parade of Homes in Utah County is opening on Thursday, and we just finished the house. It was actually being judged this morning. So maybe later I'll give you a little bit of a tour, but it's been a labor of love for the last couple years.
Oh, that's great. That I was really inspired when I first heard about it. Maybe it was 2 or 3 months ago. What you're doing there, that is so cool, and I love just the tangible representation of the initiative you all have going on there. That's great. So this is a house built by women, planning and execution. Is that right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And, we were super fortunate that there were some trades that we struggled to find, and we had the support of our male counterparts who came out and, I helped frame the house. I am definitely not a framer, but with the right instruction. And the other really cool thing is that it's actually built in an Oakwood Homes community, which I think has some affiliation with the Home Building Academy. And helped and subordinated a lot to us and helped with the construction loan, and really have been an amazing sponsor and support system.
That's great. Yeah. We just did our last interview we did on the podcast was with the CEO of Oakwood Homes, Pat Hamill, and they're a huge supporter of what we do. So they're definitely a home builder that has a lot of heart. We wouldn't exist without their support for sure, and help also guide our vision and future, and looking to replicate this in many of the other cities. So it was cool to see the connection there that you guys have, and what they've done with the house project there. Did I hear that it's mostly, or not entirely, but a ton of volunteer work went into this as well?
Absolutely. So, the goal of the project, the primary goal, was to highlight women who are in these jobs today, right? Tradeswomen, women engineers, and kind of showcase that there are people doing it today and inspire the next generation to show them what's happening in the industry and some of these women that maybe fly under the radar. But the secondary mission of the house was to really try to construct it for as low a cost as possible, including a lot of sponsorship, material donations, labor donations, volunteer work. And ultimately, at the end of the parade of homes, we are going to sell this house to some lucky homeowner. And the proceeds from that sale will go to a couple different things. One, a charity here in Utah that helps support women of domestic violence and other situations, help them get back on their feet. And then also we will be contributing about 60% of the proceeds to scholarships for women who are interested in going into the construction industry. So using this project as a platform to really give back as well as bring awareness.
That's great. I love all that. That's awesome. And
maybe some of your students will want to apply for some of our scholarships, right?
I suspect they will. We've got some great students who, and most of the students who come our way, most of the women who come our way, they want to be in the trades. Now, some of them may be interested in getting just in home building in general, but majority of them, they want to be in the trades. They want to build the homes, and so they would be highly interested in this project.
Yeah,
and
awesome.
And just seeing what happens.
So inspired by the women that came and helped on this job. You know, obviously I was more of the volunteer. I'm in construction, but more on the office-based executive kind of sales, marketing, architecture side. But seeing the strength and the integrity of the women that were out here pouring the concrete, framing the house, installing the electrical, it was really incredible. And they came from all over the country.
Yeah, that's great. That is really good. Cool stuff. Thank you for the introduction there. I want to, if I could just maybe backtrack a bit and talk a little bit about your story. And again, most folks listening to this are in the middle of starting their career or making a major career shift. We do also have some listeners that are just professionals in the industry, but most of the students that we serve, they're looking for a new career in construction, whether they're in the middle of their career and they've done something completely different and they want to shift from that, or they've really not had anything that they want to call a career. It's pay the bills, but that's it. And they really want that kind of meaningful career. So that's the kind of individuals we tend to speak with. And so I typically start off these interviews by just getting a little bit of insight into your own career journey, what that's looked like, what kind of turns has it taken, and what are you currently doing today? So kind of start with the beginning of your career journey and then what you're doing now, knowing that the house she built is not your full-time career. So what does that look like?
Right. That's my second side volunteer job.
Your second.
I've got to be honest. But no, so my real job, I kind of came through a non-traditional path into construction. I went to school for journalism. I actually have a master's degree in journalism from the University of Southern California. And I had a girlfriend that worked at Pulte Homes in the Las Vegas market, who was doing a big college recruiting movement when I was in graduate school. So I volunteered to help her set up recruiting trips to bring other students into Pulte Homes, not thinking that I would get recruited myself, but she was a very good saleswoman. And so I found myself moving to Las Vegas from the beach of Santa Monica in July. She was a very good salesperson. Yeah. Wow. And so, yeah, I started in new home sales with Pulte Homes in Las Vegas, and honestly, kind of thought I'd just give it a shot for a couple months and then go back possibly into journalism, and home building totally sucked me in. I loved the creativity. I loved that you did something different every day. It's odd, but there were some parallels to what I was studying in journalism. When you're producing stories and coming up with creative content, every day is different. You don't know if you're going to be reporting on the government or on sports or on, a long format piece. And home building had elements of that. I got to meet amazing people. My job every day was different. It was just a really rewarding place to be. And I found the home building industry totally embraced me as well. Some of my best friends come from the home building industry. And ironically, I also met my husband in construction. So see, you can always if you don't love the career, you may get a love connection out of it. But so it's been amazing. And my path has kind of taken me through Pulte Homes to Taylor Morrison Homes. And then my husband and I joined his family custom construction company that his father-in-law started. And now I'm at American Homes for Rent in sort of this newest segment of the home building operation, building single family detached for rent homes. So I just feel like there's so many different paths and facets and disciplines and departments that you can explore in this industry.
That's what I love about it. When people think about home building, they don't always fully realize all the different channels that go into home building.
Absolutely.
And again, we see tons of individuals who really want to do the building. They want to put up the walls. They want to, they want to install the windows. They want to do the roof. But there's other individuals who just, they want to find something that's meaningful, that's satisfactory, and they don't really know where their life is going to go. They just may know what they're doing now is not what they want to do, and are just looking for something different. And they hear there's high demand in the construction industry or in the building industry.
Absolutely.
And come our way. What's that?
Yes, absolutely. We will take all of you.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, anything that they're begging for work, I mean, people are going to see that as a positive. And so they come our way, maybe to the Colorado Home Building Academy, and they're not really sure what's next, but they know they just want to do something that's meaningful, that pays well, that is in high demand. And it's just neat to watch them discover lots of different options there. There's a lot of us in the home building industry that actually aren't particularly handy. Don't ask us to fix anything, but we really believe in the industry, and it provides a lot of opportunity for a lot of people. It's a cool thing.
Absolutely. Well, and what's really cool is, so when we moved to Utah, we went from Vegas to Scottsdale to Sacramento to the Bay Area to here. So geographically, you can do home building in almost any place you land, right? And so now I'm in the state of Utah, and my husband is running a trade services company. So he hires excavation teams, framing teams, finish carpentry, painting, the whole gamut. So his company is structured to support exactly what you guys are doing in the Home Building Academy. And to see the type of people that he is able to recruit, and just hard workers, salt of the earth, just great individuals who in a company like that maybe they start in framing, and then they realize wow, I really prefer the finished carpentry side of woodworking, or I want to go into the mill and build cabinets. Again, there's so many different opportunities that people who start in the trades can explore as they find their path and their passion.
Yeah, that's great. That's good. Yeah, and we see that too. That I appreciate you mentioning kind of the salt of the earth. One of the things I like the most about working in this industry is just the kind of people I run into. It's just a cool industry to be part of, and very optimistic individuals usually. And just know what it means to put in honest work and do a good job and take pride in what you do. And it's a really cool thing to be a part of. I myself have worked in very different industries. I worked in the banking world for 3 years. I was in religion for 10, and now I'm in the construction industry. Wow. And so those don't sound anything alike each other at all. But it's there is overlap, and there's definitely a common thread that runs through different career paths that you might go into. But I really appreciate a lot of what this industry has to offer. It's been super exciting. I've only been here for 2.5 years, and And I really, really enjoyed it. And I just love what I get to do. And it's just a cool to be able to introduce other individuals to that as well. To
Absolutely.
be a part of that. That's cool.
The other thing that's, I guess what I found that I really love about home building, and I would imagine a lot of your students are drawn to, is the fact that when you're done with your day's work, you can look back and see the tangible results
Yeah.
of what you've done, right? There's not a lot of industries and careers that are like that anymore, where, you're like, oh, I sat at a desk for 8-9 hours today typing in spreadsheets, and what do I really have to show for it? Here, it's like, yeah, it's taken us 2 years to build this house, but honestly, like, it is spectacular, and a family is going to move in here, and we all had a piece of it, whether it was putting up, a single brick or framing the walls or putting in the windows. And now in my career, having been in it for 16 years, I can go back to all of these markets, starting in Vegas, and see a community that I helped design the floor plans for, and I sold to that homeowner, and I help design that amenity center or build it or what have you. It's so cool to have that legacy.
I love that. And there is, to be able, I hear that from our students all the time, that they want to be able to tell their children as they're driving down the road that mom helped build that building. That tangible benefit. And as you just mentioned, there's a lot of careers that, you get to the end of the day and it was busy and it was stressful, and you can look at a to-do list that you kind of did. But other than that, you're not really sure what you actually accomplished and what you did contributed to the world exactly, and so to be able, there's got to be such satisfaction to be able to look back at multiple neighborhoods in multiple states. You said, I was a part of where those people live, and building that community in a very literal way. That's cool.
And it creates such a team dynamic, right? Like, doesn't matter if you're the concrete guy handing it off to the framing girl, like, you have to have a coordinated effort between the general contractor in each of those trades and even your crew, right? It's this amazing industry that really breeds teamwork and collaboration versus all of these people who are working remotely in their little silo and like barely talking to anyone. It's a very social industry, and that'll be very apparent, I think, for people who are jumping into it.
Yeah, thank you. On that note, women are highly underrepresented in the trades, in the industry in general. It's highly male dominated. I've heard different kinds of stats. I heard for the trades about 3%. I've heard if you spread out the trade element into more general labor, but the actual building process, this actually goes down to about 1%. And then if you take it into a broader scope of like office sales, leadership, et cetera, it gets higher, but it's about 8 or 9%. Does those numbers sound right? I'm not an expert.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. And so, so that's incredibly slim. I mean, so what do you think is, what is your take on what has happened, and what is currently happening in that regard?
Yeah, I think it's becoming, well, first of all, I think the trades in general had a bit of a downturn just when a lot of high schools pulled wood shop and some of those things out of the system, right? And counselors weren't maybe encouraging people to look at that as a path. That coupled with the downturn in the home building industry in like the early mid 2000s didn't help. So we're starting to see people reinvesting in education around trades, like what you guys are doing. We're seeing big home builders try and get the word out and almost more of a PR kind of effort around this. And really, when you look at what it costs for somebody to pay for college for 4 years to be, let's say, a lawyer, and that's probably even more than 4 years, right? That debt they go into, and then their salary when they first get out of college, like how long it takes them to actually recoup what they could have gotten in an apprenticeship, getting paid on day one, right out of the gates, learning a trade. I think that word is starting to get out more. I think projects like the house that she built, bringing awareness to the fact that there are some amazing roles for women in the field, in this industry. Maybe it's not for everyone, maybe it's not every role, but the things that we benefited from here, having a female eye on some of these non-traditional elements of the home, you wouldn't think you'd see, female drywallers, but we found a couple girls out of Bozeman, Montana, and they did an amazing job. Our finish carpentry teams were like impeccable. So it's one of those things where I think it takes more conversations like this. It takes more projects like the house that she built. It takes professional organizations like Professional Women in Building to create paths of mentorship and sponsorship and encouragement, and letting people know that these are great jobs and they exist out there, and we want them to come into the business.
That's really good. And I see that a lot too, that especially some of your bigger builders are really asking for this. They want women to be in the industry. And so it seems like, just from a numbers standpoint, with the demand that's out there for building, if you don't do that, you're going to get in trouble.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Do you see any ways in which some builders or contractors or whatnot might make it harder, like women that would otherwise be interested, but they run into various roadblocks?
Yeah, obviously I wasn't in the field the majority of my career, but even in the boardroom, I've always been the minority, right? Like it's usually a lot of guys and then me. And I think it does take a woman having confidence and being willing to use her voice and speak up. And you do probably have to consider having a little thicker skin coming into this industry. But what I have found is that if you, kind of speak up, and if you have confidence, the respect that you get as a woman is almost faster than I've seen my male counterparts receive. And there are a lot of men and women who are in leadership positions in home building that want to see diversity. They almost don't know how to bring it in. They don't know how to encourage it, but they support it. And, that's an example of what we were doing here at the house. It's like, some of these old school contractors in Utah were like so encouraged by the fact that we were taking on this project that they were willing to come over and help handhold and show us and coach and mentor. So I think that women just need to try to find their voice and get involved. If you don't have that confidence, or you do feel intimidated, try and reach out to your local Professional Women in Building organization, or try to find, a female in the industry that you can help bounce ideas off of, or who can be a support network and support system for you as you're getting into it.
That's great. So it sounds like, having some peers, getting some social support, but then also being able to push past some of that initial discomfort, you'll find a lot of individuals really welcoming you into this industry.
Absolutely. Yeah, there might be, a few more barriers to entry initially, but if you can have the resilience to push through that initial kind of tough or uncomfortable point, you'll find that it's an awesome place to be. That's
great. We've seen that too, just with some of our grads, actually, where they are coming from a different industry. They've been the most, when they commit to it and say, this is what I'm going to do, they've been the ones most rapidly getting into leadership. Cool. We do this 16-class construction skills boot camp. And one of the students from there, she has a very diverse background. She has an education in physics and has taught physics, but she also has been involved in the travel industry and done tours in Alaska and scuba diving. And she also has done, paramedics. when she went into construction, she came via our school. And after just a 16 class of starting from the very basics, and we do rapidly run from the basics to being able to do some actual carpentry and building, and even a bit of blueprint reading. But it is a very initial course. After she was done that, she became a project manager right out of the gate, just finding the right people, finding the right company, and showing the skills in the background and the incredible aptitude that she does have. Just created this scenario where they really wanted her on the team and wanted her to lead these projects. And so it's cool. It was cool to watch that.
That is cool.
Almost never does someone go immediately into management, but
yeah. I mean, when you think about who's buying homes in the United States today, right? It's a pretty diverse pool of people, whether that's age or ethnicity or, cultural background or what have you. And so if the home building industry doesn't somewhat represent what the buying public of your product is, there's going to start to be a misalignment, right? If the people who are designing and building the houses aren't the same kind of group as those that are purchasing, I find a lot of success in that when I meet with clients. And the wife wants to feel like she has a voice, and a lot of times having me in the room gives her a level of comfort to express her opinions or give her insight into the design. And so I think whether that's females, whether that's minorities, whether that's a different socioeconomic background that you came from, in my opinion, the home building industry will be most successful if we can get the largest diversity that we can.
I hear that. Absolutely. I think that's really, really important. You mentioned some things already, but anything else you wanted to add there as far as how we as an industry can really encourage that? Women, but also the diverse groups of people. It seems like there is a real openness among builders to change this. But most builders I speak to do confess to the fact that it's just not very diverse yet, all the way around. So how do you say we move that ship into a direction that is catching up with the rest of the world on this one?
Well, I think, a lot of it does come down to educating people probably at a much younger age, like almost starting with parents and elementary school students, to get back some of what the schools have diverted from trades, and reducing, a level of stigma about, this is an amazing career path. And if anything, you have more opportunity in the trades because you can go to any marketplace. You have a skill set that for a day's work, you get paid a day's work. I look at what my husband has been able to build with his trade services company, and it's like, these guys and women have such an amazing opportunity. And it does take some education further down the chain. And then, really trying to just get out into communities that maybe are underrepresented. Ironically, the house that she built, we're working with Group 2, which is an advertising agency that's helped us with the promotion of this house and branding and everything. And I've been helping them with a children's book inspired by the house that she built that we're going to be launching through National Association of Home Builders. And it's just, what can we do to help show little girls even that there are jobs? And you just have to almost start at the grassroots level and build it up. It's not going to be an overnight process.
Yeah, I love that. I took a look at that children's book. I saw that on the webpage. So yeah, you're just from bedtime stories, just introducing children to this idea of women building the house. Yeah, I love it. Can you speak to, you mentioned the stigma. Can you speak to that a little bit? This stigma around blue collar work and the discouragement that may have existed. I think things may be changing here with discouragement that for some time has existed around that. Can you speak to the misconceptions that may be there in some folks' mind?
Yeah, I think that part of it probably stemmed from, I don't even know exactly when it started, but it was almost like in the United States, people felt like the only path was college. For a long time, I remember we had a auto shop in my school and a woodworking shop, and like the trades were embraced as something that was a super amazing career path. And then at some point that seemed to pull back, right? And the high schools and the counselors and the parents felt like if their child didn't go to college, what was their other option? And it sort of like dissolved. And so I feel like getting some of those things back is already helping, and doing what I spoke of like showing your trajectory of income if you jump right into a trade versus going to college for 4 years. And there's people for both, right? Like there's the right fit for each individual, or there's a realignment in your career. It sounds like a lot of your students are doing that, right? They went down a path, they thought that was for them. I started in journalism. I realized like, wait, maybe let's pivot over to this. And I stuck for 16 years. So I think it's just helping people realize that these are great jobs. They're necessary jobs. None of us would have houses if we didn't have trades. So I think that it's starting to shift, and the home building industry is so hot right now, and price of houses are going up. And so some of that awareness, I think, is starting to take place.
That's good. Yeah. On that, you mentioned, as you talked about like your that maybe mid-career shift that might happen, or in your case, you went to school for journalism. You said you have a master's degree in journalism. So if someone feels stuck in the choice they made maybe at 17 years old to go a specific career path, and they invested into a lot of education, maybe they even got a job in that industry, and they discover this is just not for me, but they really there's that sunk cost burden. What advice would you give to someone like that who's considering something completely different?
Yeah, I would say it's always difficult, right? To make a big career change and feel like you've given years, or whether that's time or money. But really finding something that you're truly passionate about, you think about how much time we all spend working and how much time you spend away from your family or your other passions in life to work. And I don't feel like it's worthwhile, even if it's like, oh, I'm 5 years in or I'm 10 years in. Are you still going to trade that off to be unhappy for the next 15, 20, 30, or however long it takes to finish out your career? So I would just encourage people to, follow the path that they think is the most fitting for their skills. And even if that means a little bit of a step back, sometimes that'll leapfrog you forward even further.
That's good. I think it's really good advice. What does your day-to-day look like in your primary career right now?
So in my primary career, I'm basically running 5 markets for American Homes for Rent, and I'm over the Mountain West region. So I have a pretty diverse group of markets. I have Seattle, Boise, Denver, Colorado Springs, so I'm right in your backyard, and then Salt Lake City. And we have teams on the ground that do everything from the land acquisition to land development. We design the community, we build the homes, we have to do all of the purchasing for the homes. And then ultimately, we also hold and rent those houses out through our property management team. So it's a really cool new spin, I guess, on the construction industry, homes for rent versus homes for sale. But it's
so you hold on to those homes like they're your homes and you rent them out?
Yeah, so we hold on to the homes long-term, 15, 20 years, and have a whole portfolio of assets. We're actually what they call a REIT. So we're a real estate investment trust with a home building arm within it.
Interesting. That's fascinating. Are those rentals short-term, mid-term, long-term? What does that look like?
So, and I'm sorry, a bunch of people just arrived at the house that she built, so it's a little noisy in the background here, but
it's not coming through too bad. So
it's not okay. Good. No. we're in final prep mode for our ribbon cutting ceremony this afternoon, but so we usually we hold the homes probably anywhere from 15 to 20 years and build out the communities. So it's really cool. It's like we even build amenity centers and dog parks, and you literally can't tell the difference between our for rent community and the for sale community next door.
Yeah, very nice. Cool. Good. Well, before we wrap, because we're coming up on where I typically stop, let's get a look at the house, if that's all right.
Yeah.
And if you don't mind giving us a little look around, and then we'll just button it up.
Absolutely. Sounds great. Okay. Well, I am up in the cute loft. So this is like the little homework loft for the kids.
Oh, nice. That's
and
beautiful.
And then we've got secondary bedroom. So this is kind of like the little girls' room.
Mm-hmm.
And we took a traditional Oakwood Homes floor plan, actually. We had to keep the interior footprint the same. But then our architect worked with our team and our interior designers to change up the interior floor plan. And I think Oakwood's going to want to buy it from us because it's awesome. This is my favorite.
It looked great.
With the pretty tile. We had girls that flew in to do our finished carpentry and our tile work from as far away as Maine. So. Oh,
wow. Very nice.
And we've got our master bedroom here, really fun brick wall. I think there might be someone in here. So we did little hanging doors. Sorry, it's not great on my laptop here, but
I can see it really well. It looks great.
We'll see. So we're set up for another interview on the first floor. So we'll bring you down here. You can see the setup.
Yeah, cool.
Colorado Academy.
Hey guys.
Up in Colorado, that's sponsored by Oakwood. So this is our great room. See, they're set up for an interview down here. Some of our amazing designers are going to be interviewed. Our pretty kitchen. So yeah, lots of fun stuff. And the stairs are really
It looks
cute.
Great. Very nice.
Yeah, well, we would love for you guys to check it out. We're on Instagram, so you can see all the finished professional photos at some point too.
Cool, good.
I might have gotten too.
I lost you just a little bit. Do you hear me okay?
Yeah, I think I might have walked too far away from my hotspot.
Far from the phone. Gotcha. Well, thank you so much for spending some time with us, Pierrette. I really appreciate it. Any closing thoughts or anything else you wanted to mention about the house that she built before we wrap?
You know, I don't think so. Just I would love for everyone to check us out. And honestly, the Instagram stories or utahpwb.com, we feature a lot of the women who helped us as tradeswomen out here at the home. And again, if you're looking for a network of women to connect with who are doing this while you're in school, you're looking for support, mentorship, it's a great organization to get involved in.
Cool. That's perfect. Thank you so much. So where can they find the Instagram or webpage, anything like that?
Yeah. So probably the easiest spot would just be utahpwb.com. And then it'll have all of our social links and all the profiles about the house. And yeah, we'd love to have more people following it.
Yeah. Great. Good. Well, again, I hope some more folks look you up and find out about what you're doing. And it's just really good work and such a great way to get more individuals inspired to join this industry. So thank you for what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you. You have a good one. We'll catch you.
You too.
Well, hey, everybody. I really hope you enjoyed that interview. Just to recap, if you're looking to get plugged into our program, or you are an employer that would like to hire our students, please do get in touch with us. You can find me at 303-358-4409 or Brian, B-R-I-A-N, at cohomebuildingacademy.org. We have the boot camp that's available to get your start in the construction field, as well as skills trades training, as well as construction management. I'd love to talk to you about the details of all that. You have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for listening. I'll catch you later. Bye.